Well, hello there, sports fan. Welcome to this week's edition of Red Race Welding and Machining. We got several things we're going to be doing this week. Starting to get hot, too. So, we got some things to do in the shop. Wife's car quit. Got to get it fixed. Old YawtYawt's got a trap toe up. We had to get some welding done on it. I found another mistake that I'd made. We got it corrected. And we're starting to work on that project machine a little bit and going over it and making sure it's what it needs to be. So, anyway, y'all stay tuned to this week's edition to see what's going on. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe. See you in a little bit. Well, hello there, sports fan. Welcome to this week's edition of Red Race Welding and Machining. Down here in the shop today. Got one of YawtYawt's traps. We got to do a little, see if we can do a little maintenance on that thing. It's, you can tell, you can see all these wires broke on this thing and bent up. You think them hogs won't run into something and hit it hard? They definitely done broke all them wires loose. So I'm gonna see if I can come up with a way that I can just tack them all back in. It's gonna be a whole lot of squirt gunning to get them welded back, but I'm gonna try to weld most of them back, spot them back anyway. So let's see how that's gonna turn out. All right, what we're gonna do, I got my little pry bar. I'm gonna just take them and pry those two pieces of wire back together and hit them pretty good with a higher setting than you'd think you'd weld something at with. Reason being, when you hit it with that high heat on a higher setting, all you gotta do is hold it for just a second, it'll weld it. If you get down cooler where you think you need it for that little small wire, then you gotta do a lot more welding on it. You don't get the penetration. So this will weld it a lot quicker and faster. What I'm gonna be using now, this is a shield that a buddy of mine gave me. He was a contractor, and that's what they use. And they pretty handy, little old face shield. Look kind of like old Darth Vader. That's under the smoke. But to me, that's one of the best ones it is, because this protects the bottom of your face. They're goggles, so you don't have to worry about anything getting in around your eye. They don't sit there and steam up and fog up like the regular ones do. Well, all right there, sports fan. We got most of them all put back together. Dang, I missed that one right there. It didn't line it up right. But anyway, them hogs ain't gonna say nothing about it. I got it pretty well lined back up all the way around. I tapped through there, tried to find any loose ones, and went on tack them back. So anyway, like I said, them hogs ain't gonna say nothing about it. And it way yonder more of them stuck now than it was when he brought them. I'm telling you, it's getting hot, my fat getting greasy and leaking out. So I'm trying to get started a little earlier in the morning, quit a little earlier in the day. So shoot, I got another piece down there I got to weld up, but we get that there welded up. We're gonna call this in here good, go get into something else, something a little cooler. Well, hello there, sports fans. We're at the home training today. Wife's car quit on her the other day. Not really quit it, just kind of we wouldn't run just a little bit and all of that. And then the brake light stayed on it. Well, here's the deal. Now, you know, we talked about him a while back. I told you about engineers and what all of the stuff that they do that makes like 0 sense. The brake pedal on the car, the brake lights, I'll say the brake light switch, is a plunger type switch. Well, there's a piece welded onto the brake pedal that tab hits, that, you know, that it stops it or activates the switch. You explain to me why some engineer decided that we need to spend the money to drill that hole in that pedal to put a piece of plastic, there it is, a piece of plastic through there for that plunger to go work off of. Now, you done spent money for the plunger, which costs. You done spent money for the plug. And when that thing goes out, the car don't want to run right because it thinks the brake lights is on. Now that's what I was talking about, folks sitting there. Just, it makes zero sense of why you want to go to all of that trouble right there to put a plug in there on a plunger. Because I'm going to tell you, and everybody said, yeah, things better than it was back then. But back in the day, you didn't have to worry about that. Because, I mean, the plunger bumped up against the brake pedal itself. You know, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know what was the reasoning why they felt like they had to do that. But it's a big enough problem that when I called over there to the Ford place to ask them about it, that fella told me, he said, I got one right here in my hand. I said, you wasn't fixing to give it to nobody, was you? He said, no, but when you started talking, I knew what you was fixing to be needing. So, I mean, you know, they have developed something that it tears up that much. Seriously? I mean, this car ain't but 9 years old, but it gets hot in there sitting there in Mississippi. And it gets hot in Florida and all them other places, and they'll get hot, and that little piece of crack, and it'll break, and now you got to get in there and fix it, change it out, trying to figure out what's wrong with it. But anyway, good thing about it, though, it was a young man sitting there at the counter told me an easy way to put that thing in there, because other stuff that comes out that tells you that this is how you do it, gonna be kind of hard to do. But so boy, he got a good idea. I'll go ahead and tell you what he told me, so in case any of you got this. You see that hole in there? He said, take you a piece of fishing line, fish it through there, and then fish that through the hole, and then pull it in there. Because the service report tells you to take some bent long needle nose pliers and reach in there and pull it and go through all of that and put some tape on it. Just stick your piece of fishing string through that, so I'm going to feed it through the hole and pull it. We're going to see if that solves the problem. But anyway, that gets back to my rant on engineers doing stuff that don't make no sense. We'll see what happens. All right, this is on my recall on my car we was talking about. The reason brake stop lamps remain on. This thing says the affected vehicles, which we have a 2015 Fusion, does not apply to vehicles originally sold in or currently registered in the following states, counties, or territories in the United States: Texas, Georgia, Louisiana, South Carolina. Y'all can read all of that. Affected vehicles are identified in, whatever. The reason for this program: under safety recall, in some of the affected vehicles, exposure to high temperature, high humidity, and high salinity environment is causing the brake pedal stop bumper to disintegrate and fall off of some of the affected vehicles, resulting in the brake stop lamps remaining on continuously. Are you kidding me? If you're not in one of those because it's high humidity and heat, shoot, I ain't leaving Mississippi. If there's somewhere hotter than these places. All right, I got to thinking something was wrong. I'm gonna recheck this thing on the compression. She went to 150, so she got 150 across the board. I don't know how I got that 120 a while ago. That made me feel a little better right there now. So she's all even across there, so we're looking good on the compression. What you want to take is the two wires coming out of your generator. This wire here goes to your PC board, and the other wire on your shunt coil goes to the inside lead on your rheostat. I'm gonna raise that up just a little bit. All right, so see if I can, hang on camera. See if I can make some good connections here. That thing ought to read around 40. I'm getting 47, 44, depending on the connections I make, around 40, 44, 45. So that ought to be good right there. So shunt coils is good on it. Well, all right, that's telling me the old machine be worth rebuilding. So what y'all think? Might as well go ahead and get started on it, huh? We'll go ahead and kind of update it a little bit and everything. Go with electronic ignition because we're having trouble with that mag. Nobody left around that can work on mags anymore. So that electronic distributor ignition and a distributor is a whole lot better and easier. Mine worked a lot better after I did that. So you remember him a while back, I said something about every time I was doing something I was misdiagnosing stuff. Couldn't figure out what was going on. It just seemed like everything that I was sure something was, it wasn't. Well, here we go again. You seen the other day I put that new remote switch on my welding machine. Yep, wasn't a switch. There's a rheostat on my ditch box. It blowed that wire when he didn't put that thing all the way in gear. It didn't blow the switch. So some of you say, well, you know, dang, Red, you should have checked that. Well, I probably should have, but I didn't. And I think I found out why. I realized why today. You know, if I had taken that thing and said, okay, checked it, and come find out it was the ditch box and not the switch, I never would have pulled that machine off. If I hadn't pulled that machine off, I wouldn't have found out I had a head gasket just seeping on it. And I wouldn't have had to, you know, got to go over it and check all of that out and find out what all that was and get that fixed. Now, I use that machine not very much, so it's not like I got a daily routine of, you know, using it, so I check everything. So, you know, I just hadn't checked the water in it in a while, and it was a little bit low, it wasn't bad. But that's beside the point because it's such a small leak. So, with that being said, I'm pretty sure, no, I'm positive that that's one of God's ways of showing me, said, oh, hold up, you got another issue here that you need to be looking at, and you're not going to find it going the way you're supposed to go about it. So there you go. I ain't got no problem with what I did or the way I did it or what I found out later. I was glad, though, however, that they canceled that job down there that I had to go to today, and I went over and helped the old man fix his mailbox. That's when I found out that ditch box was bad and not down there on a big dollar job. Cause it's like I tell folks, I ain't perfect. They never was but one perfect welder, and they hung him on a cross. Well, you know, like I said, he was actually a carpenter. But if they'd had welding machine back then, there, Jesus had been a welder. I know he would. He'd have been a welder. Mm-hmm. Well, all right, there, sports fans. I hope y'all enjoyed this week's edition of Red Ray's Welding and Machining. Hit that like and subscribe button. The show would appreciate it. Starting to be hot now, so y'all make sure that you stay hydrated, drink plenty of fluids, stay in the shade when you can, wear loose, light-colored clothing. Y'all be careful, stay safe, go to church on Sunday. See you next time.